News with no bias. News with no exception. This is TBN, The Business, live nationwide. Good day, Bulacan. Good day, Philippines. It is a sunny day, December 10, 2021, and this is Dennice ESTEBAN, your news anchor, broadcasting live. In today's headlines, business and ecology, the dimensions of sociological problem, traditional attitudes of business towards the environment, environmental ethics, philosophical theories of an environmental responsibility, implications for businesses, moral and social obligation of business to the scientific study of the relations that living organisms have with respect to each other in their natural environment. Ecology and business have very close relationships. In fact, business activities have great impact on ecology. Nature is the foundation of all economies, yet decisions about the use of natural resources, both by public institutions and private enterprise, rarely account for the true value of natural capital or ecosystem services. Resulting costs, including water scarcity, loss of biodiversity, climate change, the hazards associated with extreme weather events, and food shortages are borne by society at large. Corporations and investors are increasingly realizing the importance of natural capital. To the environment, Valdez Principles.
When it comes in business and ecology, if you want to deal intelligently with the questions of business responsibilities for the environment, one must realize that as business uses energy and materials, discharges waste, and produces products and services, it is functioning within an ecological system. An ecosystem refers to a total ecological community, both the living and non-living. Also, business must intrude into ecosystems. However, not all intrusions or even all kinds of intrusions are justifiable. Lastly, businesses must avoid actions, practices, and policies that have an undue impact of the environment. This is Rodine RIVERA reporting.
A social problem is a condition or a type of behavior that people believe is harmful. The condition or behavior extend to become a social problem is not only based on what its reality of existence, but its level of public concern. This shows that it has two components: the objective element, which is the reality of the conditions of poverty, and subjective element, which is the level of public concern about the former and the desire to alleviate them as it is possible. To learn more about social problems, it is important to understand its context, and this includes basic components of social structure and culture. Flashed in your screens is the social structure framework. Social structure refers to how a society is organized. A social institution, on the other hand, is patterns of social order focused on meeting social needs, while social stratification refers to inequality among people with regards to social factors. Meanwhile, culture refers to the knowledge, ways of thinking, and shared understandings of behavior and physical objects that characterize a people's way of life. Its elements are particularly essential for understanding social problems, and they are values, which define what is good or desirable; laws, which are rules for behavior enforced by government; beliefs, which are the ideas people have about what is true and how things should be; symbols, which is anything that represents something beyond itself; subculture, which refers to cultural values and behavioral patterns distinctive of a particular group in a society; and norms, which are shared rules of behavior and can be classified into two: folkways, the mildest norms, and mores, the stronger norm. This is Vhea AYTONA, reporting from Bulacan.
We have several attitudes in business that have been contributing to the increase of our environmental problems, as most businessmen often view the natural world as a free and unlimited good, or as something that they can exploit without regard to the future. Now, this kind of belief is what causes pollution and the depletion of our natural resources. Related to this issue, Ms. Rodine RIVERA, also known for being the head of the ABC Mining Company, got arrested for being caught of having multiple violations in mining. Earlier this morning, Ms. RIVERA released her official statement regarding the issue.
I did not violate anything. All the leakages that they found in the mining site, it's just a minor incident, That's why I believe that I should not be arrested for this. Those reports saying that an entire community was affected by the chemical leakage, those are fabricated because, there's only few panelists who got hospitalized. And I will pay for their hospitalization if that is what concerns them, but for the record, I did not violate anything. Okay?
Ms. RIVERA insisted that the ABC Mining Company has no violations. However, due to the tons of evidences, the charges filed against her would not be lifted. This is Aiza GABRIEL reporting.
Let's talk about the environment. Everything we rely on is dependent on the environment. It doesn't matter if it's the trees or the water that provide us with air, the land we dwell on, and the rivers that supply us with water. The environment is vital for both society and industry. Everyone has a duty to conserve and safeguard the environment, whether they be governments, businesses, consumers, workers, or other parts of the society. Each of us can help to keep the environment from becoming even more polluted.
Environmental ethics is a philosophical discipline that studies the environment, the moral relationship of human beings to, as well as the value and moral status of natural environment, ethics than human contents. It is required putting out natural fires, culling feral animals, and to remove some individuals from overcrowded native species for the sake of preserving the ecological integrity of a particular ecosystem. For instance, a mining company which has performed open pit mining in some previously unspoiled area. However, it is often said to be morally wrong for human beings to pollute and destroy parts of the natural environment and to consume a huge proportion of the planet's natural resources. If that is wrong, it is simply because a sustainable environment is indispensable to present and future human well-being. This is Trixia Rodriguez reporting.
Let me discuss these theories as each tackles different conclusions about the environmental responsibility of businesses. The first one is anthropocentric or human-centered. Environmental anthropocentrism is view that all environmental responsibility is derived from human interest alone. Second theory is that second general approach to environmental responsibility. It is based on moral consideration that we owe to animals, a position that we will call animal rights view. Peter Singer, an animal rights advocate, goes a step further and argues that even lower animals, such as chickens, deserve equal moral consideration insofar as they are capable of experiencing physical pain and pleasure. Just as human, ecocentrism is our third theory, which we have direct responsibility in environment collections such as animals and these rainforests, meaning they should be protected and valued even if they can't be used as human resources. We see that these philosophical theories can be carried out in businesses as we need to look more than profit we want, but also to other beings surrounding us. RoseAnn Valencia reporting.
Implications of businesses. We have three different implications on business responsibility to the environment. First, anthropocentric perspective. Businesses have an obligation not to damage the environment in ways that negatively impact on human life. Second, animal rights perspective. Businesses have an obligation to avoid harming animals either directly or indirectly. This might include through animal testing or inhumane food production techniques. And third, ecocentric perspective. Business have an obligation to protect the environment since it is wrong to harm members of the moral community and the environment is a member of moral community. For truth and accuracy, Joan LIMOSNERO reporting. For more information, here is Vendela DIAZ.
The moral and social obligations of business to the environment. A duty is an obligation to act in a certain way. The duties arise from various sources, and all duties have a moral dimension, also create obligations and expectations. All businesses should act in a way that helps society according to social responsibility. Companies that are socially responsible should embrace policies that promote social and environmental well-being while minimizing the negative effect. There are two basic forms of duty. These are the prohibitions and requirements. In prohibitions, it specifies things we may or should not to do, or these are the don'ts, like don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, and so on. However, in requirements, these are the mandates, specifically the things that we must or should do, such as be kind, be fair, be responsible, and be respectful. Moral obligations arise from three sources. These are the laws, promises, and principles. The first one is the law-based moral obligations. Good citizens have a moral as well as a legal obligations to abide by laws. It is a part of assumed social contract of a civilized society, and also to promote and to enhance fruitful social relationships among the community. The second source of moral obligations is the promise-based moral obligations, wherein it is based on promises or agreement. Promises based on moral considerations are not enforceable. Honorable people and companies recognize and fulfill the moral obligation to do the things they agreed to do. The last one of source of moral obligations is the moral principle as the basis of moral obligations. It is a standard of conduct that exists irrespective of laws or agreements that based on universal truths about the nature of human beings. These are the initiatives which can be taken by business enterprise for environmental protections. Again, this is Vendela DIAZ reporting.
This is Ecology and MATIC, and I'll report about the Valdez Principle. Principle is a basic idea or rule that explains or controls how something happens or works. There is a Valdez Principle. It is a set of 10 code of corporate environmental conduct to be endorsed by companies as an environmental entity. It includes protection of the biosphere, sustainable use of natural resources, reduction and disposal of waste, wise use of energy, risk reduction, safe products and services, damage compensation, disclosure, environmental directors and managers, and lastly the assessment and audit. According to Mary Ellen West, companies should adopt this principle because there are 4 advantages, including the positive publicity that could help a corporation's image, reduction of costs associated with waste, corporations may avoid financially devastating environmental disasters, and it is favorable investment in a corporation.
The views and opinions expressed by the host do not reflect that of the store and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions expressed by the guests do not reflect that of the host, the show, the store, and the network.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Today with Juan Abunda. Let's welcome our special guest for today, the famous entrepreneur, CEO of Bamboo Corporation, and advocate of Go Green, Vendela DIAZ.
Hello, Tito Bon! Hello, everyone! Thank you for having me here. I'm so glad that I'm here today.
It's our pleasure. Now, let's do fast talk.
OMG, Tito Bon! I'm so nervous, but okay, let's start.
Morals or business profit?
I go for morals.
Fast fashion or sustainable fashion?
Sustainable fashion, of course.
Lastly, go big or go green?
Go green, Tito Bon.
Alright. Thank you so much, Miss Diaz. You had the wise decision, huh?
Thank you so much too, Tito Bon.
And that's it for our Fast Talk. Thank you, Miss Diaz. This is the end of our Fast Talk in Today with Juan Abunda.
Audio Jungle.